Hey, out here today doing a little landscaping. First of all, I started not to film it, but then I got to thinking, you know what? I probably ought to go ahead and put this on film because it's pretty interesting how the right way to do landscaping and the wrong way to do it. So let me show you exactly what I'm doing. Previously, for years, mulch has been added to this bed over and over again. And the problem you have, one, this is kind of like in a washout area, so it's constantly washing across the concrete. One purpose is to go ahead and try to get this maintained so it doesn't wash away. Like, go ahead, get some of this old mulch out of here. We're going to apply a river rock, and that'll look a lot better. Once you put river rock down, it's good to go as long as you put it down the right way. That's very important. If you don't put it down the right way, you're going to still have a problem with it. But you can see the beds here have been mulched up throughout the years. And you can also see that the edging along here needs to be redone. And I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do that to make it all work. This is that important part about making sure you have a nice solid edge to hold the river rock in. So you got to take the time to carve that edge out and you'll be good to go. Still got to get this section here. And see, here's one of those sections I was talking about where the mulch was ran right up even. And so anytime you have a lot of rain, what happens is the mulch starts to come up and it'll start to get up on your concrete. So what I'll do is I'll dig this down probably 3 or 4 inches, and the rock will go down below, and it'll keep everything down inside where it needs to be. And plus it'll straighten this edge up. You can see this edge right here. You can kind of see the straightness of the edge, but once you expose it a lot more, it'll look a lot better. You can see this border right here, kind of pleandering as it comes down through here. I will cut that in. There we go, got that edge all dug out. And now the rock is gonna sit down in there. And when the big rains come and the snows, it's not gonna wash out on the concrete and into the yard. That's how you wanna do it. Landscaping 101. Getting all the old stuff out of there. Got the last side all dug out, looking pretty good. That will definitely help hold that rock in place. Last thing I've got to do before I put some new cloth down is to dig out the stone wall on the other side of this fence and make sure the rock will hold on it. Been a pretty good project so far. These temperatures are getting up in the upper 90s now. About this time, mid-morning or so, I'm off to head to the office and work on some YouTube videos. Of course, shoveling that rock in here is not going to be easy. That big old river rock is at least as big as golf balls and sometimes maybe like even wiffle balls. Pretty good size stuff. Hey, I appreciate you coming along. So if you want to do some landscaping, this is how you do it right here. Yeah, the only way to do landscaping is to do it right. If not, stuff washes out on your yard and it takes a lot of work to do this right. Like this corner right here. Somebody could come in there and pull a few weeds, throw some gravel down in there and call it done. But I won't do that. I'll go in there and I'll dig everything out. I'll trim this bush way back. I'll make sure that that gravel that's put in there is going to stay along this row of stones right here. You want to go ahead and make sure when you do a project like this that it doesn't last a year and then it starts falling apart. Just make sure the stone stays in, straighten some of those stones up, and we'll be in good shape that way. If you do a project like this, you got to remember, you can't rush it. You got to have plenty enough time. Putting river stone down, landscape bed like this should last 20 years, no problem. Okay, the project continues here. Working on this edge right down through here. And next thing to do would be to put the landscaping cloth down. A lot larger of a project than I thought, but you know what? If you don't do it right, you just can't do it. It's kind of a waste of time to do it. And I just noticed something as I'm talking right here, right over here. If you see where this rake is, see that edge right there has to be cut out. Because if I don't cut that edge out, the rock is going to want to migrate into the grass, and it just creates a problem. So I'm going to have to cut a little edge right down through there. Once again, snow, ice, rain, all kind of things happen that causes landscape to shift. Another beautiful morning, but once again they're calling for a heat advisory, so it's going to get pretty warm. So I'm going to continue on, probably work 2 or 3 more hours until that sun gets up over these trees, and then I'm done. The thing about landscaping is there's just no shortcuts if you want to do the job right. You got to just manual labor and get it done. For instance, digging this wall back out so the rock will sit down inside the wall and not come over and get into the grass. Hard work, but it's got to be done if you want to do it right. I think I've got that pretty good. That's down probably 2.5, 3 inches down from the top of that stone ledge, and that should hold that rock pretty good. Hey, good early morning. It is right at 6 a.m. The sun is coming up, and this is the only time that you can work in weather like this, I think. Today there's a heat advisory. It's going to get about 98 degrees, and it just gets to be too hot. So I'm on the final stage before I put the rock down. I'm going to put down some landscaping fabric. Now this is a class 3 plus, so it's pretty good stuff. It's not inexpensive. For about a 50-foot row, I paid about $27. It's 4 feet by 50 feet, so it's not really inexpensive. You don't want to do this more than once every 15-20 years. So go ahead and invest in some good material if you're going to put it down. It's pretty simple. Roll it out, cut around anything that you need to. You can buy these little stakes like this right here. And those stakes are pretty nice, and they'll kind of help hold it. So don't worry about if your fabric has got some wrinkles and stuff in it, because whenever you go to put the rock down, it's all going to lay down there real nice. And so there's your fabric starting to go down right there. Probably in the areas that I already have fabric, like on the other side of the fence here, the fabric's in pretty good shape, and I probably won't overlap it. But definitely in the areas here that have nothing but dirt, go ahead and put the fabric down. You can see that works out pretty good. There, you got a fence post like that, just cut around it, cut that little flap off there, and put a little piece on the other side. Get out of there, bee boy. Got a bee buzzing me right there. Okay, putting down this landscaping fabric is not bad. It's pretty simple, actually. Really, you don't need a lot of tools. I got a pair of scissors here, a hammer, a kneeling pad. That's about all you need to put it down. Now, it helps to have a good pair of scissors. These are old school scissors, but they are super sharp. So it makes a big difference that you can cut this fabric and not have to struggle with it. I've got this section here all laid down, and now I'm going to fill in the rest of it inside the fence here. Ready to put some rock down. Some places where the fabric is a little bit bubbled up, but don't worry about it, especially if you're using rock. It's all going to just settle down in there with the rock, and the rock will hold it down on there, especially the river rock that I'm going to use. Now you can see there's some sections here that I haven't covered totally. Whenever this was originally put down, they put down some super thick, this must be some kind of commercial fabric. I don't even know if you can even buy this anymore. Well, at least I was shopping at Lowe's. This was about as thick as material, and this is only probably half as thick as whatever they put down originally. So it's still holding up pretty good. So I'm not going to cover everything up, just the areas that are exposed and little sections like this right here. Yeah, that fabric is holding up pretty good. I'll go ahead and put some in this section and be ready to go. Okay, I just pulled into the rock yard here. This is where I'm gonna pick up the river stone that I need. You talk about busy. They push so much gravel and sand out of here. It's incredible. located right on the river, right on the Ohio River. I'm getting ready to come through the scales right here. I'll tell the guy exactly what I need, and then from there, they'll load me up, and I'll show you how it's done. There's one of the big machines that they'll use. Right. This is the scale that you got to drive through to get weight. I told the guy what I needed. Big machines will come up here and load me up. And there's the pile that I'll get the gravel from right there. Just pull in here and wait for the big machine to pull up. That is one giant machine. I'll go ahead and put the phone up, and he'll go ahead and put it on there. Pretty crazy. Yeah, it's a big machine right there. Big operation out here. You can see I don't know how much this is. I don't think this is quite as much as I got yesterday, but I may not need as much as I got yesterday. You can see the size of it compared to that pickup truck right there. And you can see the old pickup truck will go down pretty fast. Yeah, it's a pretty tough GMC right there to hold that much. So that's the gravel yard right there. Just let you see that. Pretty exciting. Gonna get everything tied up here, ready to go. Get back to work. So once they get the gravel all loaded up on your trailer or your truck, then you drive back through the scale, and that tells you how much you got. So everybody that comes in the yard has to drive through this water in order to get back out on the city street. Regulation that they have, and it's probably a really good idea that they have it. One busy place right there. There are dump trucks and semis coming in there on a constant basis. So if you ever visit one, you got to be careful. Make sure you stay out of the way, because man, one of those machines would squash you like a little bug. Right, I don't think I'm going to put this gravel down today. It's going to almost hit 100 degrees today. I think I'm going to go ahead and get into the office and work on some videos. I'll probably end up putting this gravel down on probably Monday. All right. Hey, I appreciate you coming to the channel. Hope you're finding this interesting. A lot of hard work. Just remember, you cannot do shortcuts. If you take shortcuts, it just won't turn out this way. And you'll realize that once you get the gravel and you start putting it down. It's 2.5 inch round river rock. Fabulous morning here in southern Indiana. Got to the point where I'm finally going to put the river rock down in the landscaping I've been working on now for a little while. Had to dig it all out and get it just right. I think it's going to go pretty good. It's going to be another hot day. Up about 110, 115 degrees index today. This is why you want to dig it out, to make sure when you put your landscaping rock in that there's a nice edge, because when water comes flowing in here and fills this up, you want to make sure that the rock, although this size rock would be pretty hard to float, but if you have smaller rock, water will get underneath it, actually float it up and float it over the top of your edge. So you want to make sure you always have that nice edge, plus it looks really nice when it's done. Thankful I've got this nice tractor to work with here, and it's still going to take a lot of manual labor to get this right. Got all the cloth done yesterday. It's all looking really good. There's a little tip for you if you ever got to haul gravel on a trailer, and if the trailer doesn't have sides on it like this one right here, you just need to go ahead and have your big tarp and put that tarp down, and then you can kind of wrap it up to keep gravel from flying. I also got my ear protection on, my eye protection on, because shoveling this rock is loud, and that continuous high pitch the entire day is going to mess with my ear. When you work with something like that, you always want to make as little motion as you possibly can. Notice I'm basically keeping the shovel the same, going down, turning around, or just like a piece of machinery would work. You don't want to do too many more moves than you have to, especially if you're trying to conserve a little bit of energy. Conserve energy as much as you possibly can. Watch your back, watch your knees, make sure you don't hurt your shoulders. It's just a steady process. It's not going to get done fast, but eventually it will get done. You can see the pile is slowly going down. So far, only scratched the surface. I've got that edge along there done on the outside, and eventually I'm going to work these sides, and I'll probably end up having to go back and get more for this middle section. Wow, that's a lot of rock. You know, you're talking about 4,000 pounds of rock. It ended up taking 6,000 pounds, maybe even 8,000 pounds to finish this up. Nothing easy about it, I'll tell you that. You can see what I'm using. It's got everything from pieces about this size right here to then it's got your smaller pieces. This is what they call 2.5 inch river rock. River landscaping. Down to just a few scoops left. Looks like I'm going to need about twice that much in order for this to work out. So you never know. You're working with landscaping, you just don't know how much it's going to take. And apparently I'm going to need about twice that. Back to the rock yard. Coming back for one more load here at the downtown Evansville rock quarry. Boy, this is a big place here. You can see that's the river. That's the Ohio River right there. I was able to go ahead and get the landscaping project done, and it turned out pretty good. Wow, it took a lot of rock. It took almost 6 tons of this river rock to do this bed that I did right here. So yeah, it was a lot of work. Every piece you see in here was put in by hand. Anyways, let me show you what it looks like. You can see it turned out pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that. And the nice thing is now that this rock has been put down, that's basically it. You don't have to remulch. You don't have to worry about it washing out or redoing it. It's pretty nice. Every once in a while you might get a rock kicked out of the place and you got to put it back in, but the more the weather sets in, especially through the winter, the more the rock will kind of set into place and won't move at all. I appreciate you coming to the channel. That's LAF Space Film Fest. Capital LAF Space Film Fest. Hey, if you would, hammer down that subscribe button. Helps me to put out videos like this. Hey, just in case you want to do some landscaping, this might give you a few tips, a few bits of advice that might help you along. Just remember, this rock is heavy duty. So if you decide to do a project like this, it's a lot of work, but once it's done, turns out real nice. And you have a good day. So just dig down, twist, put it down, come back, dig down, twist, come down, put it back. Get out of there, B-boy.